Hello, hello, hello. What's going on, everybody? Running Routes
Hey,
podcast.
let's
How you doing,
go.
boys?
What's going
What's
on?
happening, Brady?
Week
Hey,
So we-
two.
let's
we're week
go.
two now. Week
Oh,
one was a little wild. Some upsets, some crazy games, some blowouts.
Definite.
Good mix. Overtime. Hey, we got everything there. Week one. We
Yes.
hit the bingo. We hit the bingo card all across. So,
Friggin' goose egg. Yeah, we did everything.
all right, John. Ready to jump in week two here?
Let's get
Have
yeah,
it.
some
let's
fun.
go. Let's get at it.
All right. Thursday night football. Minnesota Vikings had that tough home loss there against Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Going into Philadelphia Eagles here, who had a tough road game against the New England Patriots there. Well coached team, well coached ball team there. Um, but this Vikings defense isn't. I don't think can live up to what the Patriots defense did. I mean, you saw like the Bucks were able to move the ball efficiently a couple times, scored some touchdowns. So I think the Eagles are going to have an easier day on offense than they did last week, and then I think the Vikings are going to have a harder time on offense than they did last week versus the Bucks because I think the Eagles have a better defense than the Bucks. So I see the Eagles winning this here. They're a 6.5 point favorite here. I could see them winning by a touchdown or more for sure. How are you guys looking at it?
Yeah, I mean it's easy. It's easy here. The fact that 11 carries, 34 yards, Madison produced last week. Justin Jefferson, 9 receptions, 150 yards, no touchdown. That just stinks for him having a pretty decent game. He doesn't get a touchdown in that game, but he still goes off in that game. And I think he'll get some yards in this Eagle game. But it's just tough to think that this is the bounce back game for Minnesota coming in as well as Pittsburgh, as well as the New England Patriots defense played against the Philadelphia Eagles, kept it a close game all game. That's a well coached squad. We knew that coming in. A couple guys on the roster ended up taking the Patriots to win that game just because of how great the coaching was. I don't see Minnesota having the coaching staff to run with Philly in this one. I think that the fact that we're going to keep it one-dimensional with Justin Jefferson and the trifecta you got over there at wide receiver, I think because of that and the fact that the Eagles aren't going to respect your run game, they're going to drop back. I think this is going to be potentially a really good game. Bradbury's not going to be playing in this game. That's huge for them. But on the other side of the ball, they got offensive linemen who are chipped up and who are hurt coming into this. This is going to be a hell of a game, an incredible Thursday night game. But I got to edge this one out to Philly. I definitely take the points on this one, and I think Philly wins.
Yeah, for me it's two teams that were pretty disappointing week one. One Minnesota, I wasn't really surprised in. I wasn't crazy high. I thought it was going to be an ugly game. Buccaneers played great defense.
Baker.
Um, yeah, Baker
Baker.
Baker came through.
Baker.
And then on the other side, the Eagles, one offensive touchdown. Kind of expected a little bit of trouble, but up 17 in the first quarter and to almost let that one slip away twice to a Patriots team. You gave up over 300 yards passing to Mac Jones. There were some things that just didn't really sit well with me as far as the Philly offense. Obviously, we had touched on the coordinator switches and stuff like that. How will that affect them? So I think they are finding a new identity again this year. Gainwell being banged up,
Huge.
it's tough because he looked really good. He was
Huge.
probably Philly's best offensive weapon, minus Smith catching the touchdown there. So at the beginning of the week, I thought Eagles hands down. Marinated on it a little bit more. I like the Vikings to cover this, but I'm still gonna take Philly. It's right about right. It feels like on the point spread, but I think Minnesota.
Pick a side.
Hopefully, they got the taste in their mouth from last year because Philly absolutely waxed them this time last year.
Yeah,
No doubt.
But
wasn't it a week two Thursday game as well last year
it
when?
was very early. It might have been week three.
Or
But yeah, it
yeah,
was very early.
big bad blowout game for Minnesota.
Yeah.
Wasn't pretty.
So Eagles is my pick. Take the points with the Vikings if you
Okay.
play some wagers.
Quick fantasy question for you boys. You mentioned Gainwell being banged up. Do you, in fantasy, are you going to ride with Gainwell again, or are you going to say, hey, maybe Swift gets more than one carry this week, or maybe Scott takes over? Who do you think is going to be the most used running back for Philadelphia next week against Minnesota?
I think this is a really tough fantasy question. I think that realistically, this is going to be by committee, for the committee, and nothing but the committee. So help you, committee. I think that that's the way this is going to go. I think that they realize that there's some tread on the two backs that they brought in this year, but not a whole lot, because if it were, they'd be the starters, or they're just trying to ease them into the situation to try to get longevity out of them moving forward, not just to get a good season out of them. They're looking for a good career out of these guys. Maybe that's why they're going a little slow. And besides, week one coming in, they had the backs to not have to start those two coming in. Potentially, I like I said, I think this is committee, man. This is a really tough one to just go ahead and maybe Swift.
You wouldn't start.
I'll go Swift.
You wouldn't start any of them.
I really wouldn't. I really wouldn't. But if I'm forced to, that's my honest opinion. I wouldn't start any one of them. But if I was forced to and I had to, I'd take Swift.
Okay.
I think at the end of the day, I'd probably agree with going with Swift. I think there's going to be points in this game. I think this is going to be a higher scoring game. I probably like the over on this combined wise.
So tough.
You're absolutely right. It's going to be a committee thing, and you never know that wild card being Boston Scott. We saw last year him pop up and score touchdowns. And then you got to worry about Jalen Hurts around the goal line too, because he likes to take the rock in as well. So I think Swift probably would be my lean, but yeah, if I had to pivot, I would pivot off, because most likely if you're starting Gainwell in one of your leagues, you're doing it in the flex position. If you got a more viable flex, I think it's the smart move. I think Gainwell is going to be the best back on Philly throughout the season, but I think in this game, I think you got to pivot if you have the opportunity. How about you, Brady?
No, I like it. I agree. Yeah, my option would be probably just to avoid it, because it's going to be a headache. I think easily any of them could just have a crazy game, but to gamble it on 5 different options. I mean, your most likely options being, Gainwell or Swift, but you're not going to know right now. It's too early in the season, and there's a lot to choose from right now.
It feels like the KC wide receiver pick your favorite from last week. It could just be an all-out bust, and it could be Jalen Hurts throwing the ball more than we anticipated.